Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Fartist Feature. What? Hi, how are you? You're with the lovely Greg. Hi, Greg.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Listen, I'm very excited to talk to you about all kinds of gargoyles and fun stuff we have in chat. I know the chat's going to be popping. People be popping in here anytime now, which is very lovely. Let's see. We already got a couple people in chat. GTK Comics. We got Jay Ryan. What's up, Jay? How you guys doing? You guys are lovely. Love you guys. Yeah, so this is why we're here today. We're going to talk to you about Gargoyles and the new series for Demona, which is exciting. Very excited. Love that character. Very nice. So yeah, get some introductions on the way here. Let me do the big. It'll be fun. Hi. Hello. Yeah, so the people that are just joining us maybe not know who you are. Please introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, what you do.
Oh, me or the
yeah?
The chat?
Oh, yes, Greg.
You're talking to people on the chat, like. Sorry, I'm Greg Weisman. I am a comic book writer. I also probably best known for producing and writing multiple animated series, including Gargoyles, but also Witch and the Spectacular Spider-Man and Star Wars Rebels and Young Justice and many others. I'm here to talk about whatever you'd like to talk about, but hopefully mostly the new Gargoyles Demona miniseries that comes out in May.
Yes, it's on pre-order right now. Here, I'm going to drop the links so people can go and click it. This right here will take you to the Dynamite website where you can go ahead and order any of this stuff. It's on pre-order, but it is releasing sometime in May. So you can go ahead and get
May
that.
14th specifically.
May 14th? Nice.
Yeah, and before that, on Free Comic Book Day, which I think is the first Saturday in May.
Yeah, it's May 3rd.
May 3rd, yeah. Demona Zero comes out, which is just a little tee-up for the 5-issue miniseries.
Oh, lovely.
So, if you want a free comic book, grab Demona Zero. And that tells a story set in 97, as most of our Gargoyle stuff is set in the mid to late 90s.
It's a good time.
Very tease out the 5-issue miniseries, which is set back in the 11th and 12th centuries.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be a hot one that people are going to be picking up because I love Free Comic Book Day. Is probably my favorite day of the year. It's always a good time. Go in there, run around. It's just pure nerd stuff. You got to love that. So good times. Yes, I do have the links for the Dynamite link. Go ahead and click on that. You guys can go ahead and order it because you have some lovely covers as well for that. That's very exciting. Old School Comics. What's up? Hello. Yes, really cool indeed. So we're here to talk to Greg. We're going to get into a lot of your Gargoyles for especially the Demona series, which I'm very excited to hear about because I love all the characters. I love the ladies. Oh, yes, this is very true. Jay Ryan here, he says, a big fan of Gargoyles. And Greg, you were kind enough to retweet his Demona sketch cover that he did last year. That's right. Nice.
That's great. I don't specifically remember it. If you want to put it up there so we can see it, I'm happy to look at it again.
Oh, well, definitely. Yeah, I could definitely do that. It was actually sold during one of our charity auctions for Comics Curing Cancer. So, yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I could definitely do that. What is happening? Oh, God. Come on, StreamYard. Why you be doing things to me? Oh, great. What's up, Bone? How you doing? Listen, we are totally not a pro stream here. This is great. What is happening? Where's my links? Yes, I know. We're getting lovely times here. So yeah, if anybody has any questions in the chat wants to ask anything, go for it while I'm trying to pull some stuff up because it's good times. Hang on one second. What is? It's great. Sorry.
Okay.
Sometimes we're here, sometimes we chat, sometimes we, spaz out over electronics. There we go. Okay, so I pulled up your series here. This is the Dynamite page, but I can pull up Jay's thing as well. We can check into that. And then you can give him a live critique of his art page. We can do that. Sketch cover. Oh, it's a good time. But here's your the Dynamite page right now for the Demona series, which is very fabulous. Lots of cool art on this. So yeah, you want to tell us a little bit more about what's going on in the Demona series?
Sure. So as many of you know, I'm sure if you're fans of Gargoyles, which you don't need to be to enjoy this series, but it doesn't hurt. Demona spent 1,000 years while the rest of the gargoyles were asleep as stone statues. Demona spent 1,000 years traveling the world, getting progressively angrier with the human race. And I'm not pretending that in 5 issues we're going to cover all 1,000 years, but we are going to tell 5 individual stories from the first couple hundred years. This series is written by me and drawn by Frank Parr, and Frank and I were partners on the original television series. We were both showrunners, co-showrunners, and we both produced the show together. And Frank came to me after I'd been doing the Dynamite Gargoyles books for about a year or so, and suggested, hey, let's do something with Demona during this 1,000-year span. And that fit my ideas, and it fit with what Dynamite was looking for. So he and I sat down and we came up with these 5 stories that we really wanted to tell. Each one is set in a different year, in a different location. And each one is actually even got a different feel to it because they're all 5 in different genres. So issue 1 is historical fiction. Issue 2 is sort of swashbuckling adventure. Issue 3 is horror. Issue 4 is mystery, sort of detective fiction. And issue 5 is an elegy. And so they've each got not just a different setting and a different time period, but they've actually got a different mood, a different feel to them. And there's still a through line to the 5 issues. They're 5 individual stories, but there is still a through line to them, mostly around a new character named Angelica, who is Demona's sort of foster daughter. And so we're having a great time, putting the stories together. We've got colorist Robbie Bavard, who colored some of the SLG Gargoyles books back in the 2000s. And so it's kind of for me, kind of getting the band back together. It's a great group. With Jeff on letters and Nate editing, kind of an all-star team for me. And we're just having a blast doing it. We think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It sounds exciting, and I love that you had different themes for each one of the books as well, because that's fun. That's an interesting take that she's going to be going back through, like you're going back through a couple hundred of years where she's just kind of alone getting angry. I love that.
Right.
That's exciting. We have a couple questions from the chat. Jane wants to know, are there any plans continuing the animated series?
Well, there aren't any right now. I'm always asking Disney, always trying. But and it seems like this would be a good time. But right now, Disney's sort of focused on their live action Gargoyles development. And so the animated version will have to wait until they make a decision whether they're going to, one way or another, whether they're going to go forward with the live action series.
Oh, that's amazing, because that's actually the other question we have here. He said, old school one's like, there's a rumor of a live action movie a few years back. What happened to that? Well, clearly they're still working on it.
No, that's different. They're working on a live action series now for Disney Plus. Live action movie, if you're going way far back, not a few years, but like 25 years, there was a live action movie in development for quite some time. And they churned out at least 10 scripts that I know of, none of which I actually was allowed to read. But none of which went forward. And then new management took over and they sort of lost interest. Then there were rumors that were completely false a few years ago that Kenneth Branagh was doing Gargoyles, and that was just a flat out April Fool's joke or something like that. That people kept retweeting and stuff on the internet, and no one noticed that the original post was on April 1st. In other words, it made for a fine April Fool's joke when it was first posted, but down the road, no one notices that it was April Fool's. So it just became this thing that I constantly had to debunk over and over again. And I'll bet you anything, just because I brought it up just now, I'll have to debunk it again 800 times. And then there was a point where someone expressed interest in a Gargoyles movie, but it never went forward. And right now, really the focus is for Disney is on that live action development Disney Plus television series. And I don't know whether that'll go or not, but that's sort of the current focus for them.
I hope it goes somewhere, because I think it's one of the series that, first of all, the animated series, I think it had really great animation, but it had stellar voice casting to go along with it. And it was just a phenomenal show. And it was kind of something different around the time that was coming out. And I really loved that it blended like this fantasy with like real world stuff, which was fantastic. But I think that would translate very well into a live action series, because, we have half the characters are human, but even the gargoyles are human looking in nature. So I think that would be very nice in a live action. I would love to see that.
Well, we'll have to see. I don't have any insider information about it. I just know that that's that they're working on.
How excited are you that, like, after all these years, like, you have like Dynamite now, you have the new series, plus you have the Demona. How exciting is that as like a creator and somebody worked on the original series, to see like your beloved characters coming back to life?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, I love Gargoyles. I love playing in the Gargoyles universe. I've got these composition books. I got like half a dozen full of ideas for the story, for story ideas, and I've got a timeline that's over 400 pages long. So again, when Frank pitched Demona, it was like, there are certain things. I don't want to pretend like I've got every story worked out in every little detail.
Yeah.
There's certain tent poles in the timeline where I'm like, oh, I know she did this in this year, and I know this happened in this year. And so we sat down, and some of the stories we did were these tentpole stories, and other stories were, okay, these happened between the tentpoles. Again, it's just fun, 1,000 years worth of continuity for one character, let alone all the other characters we have in the show. That's been fun for Demona. And, but I just love doing anything set in the Gargoyles universe. So we did and your viewers should check it out if they haven't already. We did 12 issues of the main Gargoyles series called Here in Manhattan, which is the first trade, which collects the first 6 issues, is out. The second trade's coming out soon. And we also did a mini-series, Gargoyles The Dark Ages, which is a prequel set even before the 994 Gargoyles flashbacks that opened our television show. And we did a Halloween special and a winter special issues, and we also did Gargoyles Quest is the most recent thing we did before Demona, which was a 5-issue miniseries, big story where Demona basically tries to subdue the entire human race to her will.
Sounds like something she would do. I love that. I am very much.
What's that? For her, that was a compromise. She was like, okay, look, I'm not trying to kill them, just trying to make them obey everything I do. And Goliath isn't happy with that, and her response is, you're impossible to satisfy.
I love these characters. They're so much fun. Is that something that you, besides character development, is that something that you did a lot of research on, like in the time period that like this is set before it comes into like modern day?
Yeah, I mean, I'm constantly doing research for Gargoyles all the time. We did research back then as well. I had but the internet existed, but not in the way we think of it now. And when we talk about research back in the 90s, we were talking about sending people to libraries and looking up stuff in, things we used to call books.
Dialogue.
And so, I had a couple people, my assistant, Monique Beatty, who's now head of production at DreamWorks Animation, but back then was my assistant. Just a friend of mine, Tuppence McIntyre, who was a deputy district attorney in Los Angeles County, but was interested in Scottish history. And so Tuppence and Monique did all this research for us on Scottish history. Now I don't have dedicated assistants to give me research, but I do have the internet. So I do a lot of research myself, and not just that. I mean, I've been researching, English history, Norse history, all sorts of things, myths, legends, etc. We try to bring everything eventually into Gargoyles, because it's not just about one character or another character. It's really an entire universe that we're covering, and that's a lot of fun for us, is that it's this big inclusive kind of worldview.
Yeah, I love it. I love each individual character, like even the side characters and the villains to me. Like they always stand out. They're so uniquely developed. And I love them all. And when I was a kid, I just remember super being enamored with the series because it had all those fascinating characters. And I just love that. Is that something that you take a lot of time on besides researching some other stuff? Because I love character development, and like really when you see a character and you know that character has been loved because they thought of so much backstory on them. I love that.
I mean, we take a lot of, the whole thing is character driven. I mean, that's the thing. We have humor, we have romance, we have adventure, we have action, we have drama, and every single bit of it, including the humor, is character driven. And I think we do have a set of unique characters, and each one is complex and really a joy to write. And of course, for me, writing the comics, I still have the voice actors in my head, so I know what they sound like. I've even got Carl Johnson's music playing in my head. It's like I've got a little movie going in there, and then all I have to do, which isn't that easy, but isn't that hard either, frankly, just find a way to translate onto the page to send off to the comic book artist, in this case, Frank Parr, but we've had a bunch of other great artists on the books, Drew Moss and George Camadeus and Pasquale and various other people, doing some great stellar work on Gargoyles, and I just try and write scripts that they can then bring to life.
I think it's fascinating when other artists kind of find like distinct little details in a character and really bring them out in artwork. Like I love this piece here by Jay Lee. So good. He does such a great style. I love his work. Mm-hmm. And even when you look at the different covers, like every single one of them just has a little bit different aspect to Demona, which is fabulous. Megan's in here. We got Mark Spears in here. Jay's in here. We got a whole bunch of characters in here, and I love seeing this. And to me, that is the one thing that I love about art and the creativity is how somebody else can interpret another character, and I love that. It's so much fun to see that. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see. So I have a question. So when you have you always imagined this as a comic book and an animated series, or were you like when you started, did you just like have like a mindset for something else first?
I was working at Walt Disney Television Animation. We definitely developed it as an animated series. It went through a couple iterations. It took me 3 trips to Michael Eisner, who at the time was chairman of the Walt Disney Company and chose all the animated shows that we made personally. I had to pitch it to him 3 times before he bought into it. And so, yeah, it was absolutely an animated series. But early on, we thought it could also be a great comic book. Marvel back in the 90s when the show was on, did a bunch of comics that we don't consider canon because they sort of went off on their own, and I was too busy making the show to pay a lot of attention to what they were doing. But it was some of Amanda Connor's earliest work, and it's gorgeous. So they're fun stories. They're not canon, but they're still fun. And then in about 2008-ish, I worked with SLG. We did 12 issues of Gargoyles and 6 issues of a spin-off, Gargoyles Bad Guys, and now the Dynamite stuff. And I think it works great as a comic. And again, for me, it's sort of joyous to be back working, playing with these characters. And the characters are so well developed that, they kind of tell me what's going on. When things are working on Gargoyles, it just feels like it's clicking. It's almost like I'm not even writing this stuff. I'm tapping into the actual Gargoyles universe and just bringing it forward to the people in this universe. It's just a ton of fun. And the thing about Gargoyles is that things come together in the stories almost like kismet, almost like it was meant to be this way. We sort of make discoveries along the way. I have a lot of stuff planned out, but I try to leave myself open to sort of discover things along the way. And every time I write a new story, it gives me ideas for 5 more stories down the line.
Oh, that's exciting. I love that. So, like, a lot of times when I read comics, my favorite things are like the side stories and the one-shots. I don't know. There's just something very exciting about that because you get to delve into characters that you don't normally see most of the time. And I think that's the fun thing about series and characters is you could get so many fun, interesting things just with the little side characters that, don't really get a lot of screen time, but you could do some fun stuff like that. And that's fun.
Yeah. But we did a great, Nate Cosby wrote it. We co-plotted it and he wrote it, did a winter special that was just about Bronx. Just Bronx going out in the snow in Central Park and helping save a cat and her kittens. And it was a great issue. It was terrific.
I love that.
And the thing that's wonderful about Gargoyles is that there's a certain elasticity to it. We can do everything from a little cute little story about rescuing a missing cat and do a whole issue about that. And then I can do this Demona series and do everything from horror to mystery to elegy to historical fiction to swashbuckling adventure. I can do all that because the property has that elasticity to it. And even a character as monomaniacal as Demona has that elasticity to sort of handle all these different genres.
Yeah, she's perfect in a lot of these. I got to tell you, you said swashbuckling, and I'm like, oh, that's intriguing. I can't wait to see how many pirate ships and overseas she's going to be taking over. That's me. Fantastic.
More Viking than pirate, but yeah.
More Viking? Okay. Yeah, I like that. Jay actually has a question for you. Do you have any plans to do anything with the pack? Always liked Fox, etc.
If you pick up here in Manhattan, there's a big sort of mini arc in the middle of it with Wolf and Jackal and Hyena, and Fox runs through all these series. Fox is raising a toddler, running Cyberbiotics. She's got a lot going on right now, but I always have more plans for the pack for Fox. She's not part of the pack anymore, but I have more plans for Fox. And lots of plans for Jackal and Hyena and Wolf. And then Dingo is off as part of the Redemption Squad with Bad Guys. And the SLG volumes are coming out soon. There was a Kickstarter to re-release the old Marvel comics and the old SLG comics. And those should be coming out fairly soon.
Very cool. I love that. Yeah, and I did see the Kickstarter coming about, but people were talking about on that one for that. I love me a good collected edition. Those are fun to see. Yeah. And this is also coming up too, because right now it's on pre-order, but you guys are releasing, you said May 14th, And
One
this is
is
for issue 2.
Zero's May 3rd.
Oh,
Issue for Free
yeah.
Comic Book Day. Issue 1 is May 14th. I don't know the exact date for issue 2, June something. But
just says June.
it
Yeah.
just says June. Yeah, I don't know if they've set a specific date, but yeah, I mean, you can see there on that cover.
Vikings.
That's our Viking swashbuckling issue. So
that's exciting. She
you
looks
get
good.
Vikings, some Saracens. It's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, she looks like she's having a high seas lovely adventure. I love the outfit she's got on too. It looks fantastic.
Frank
But that's
designed
something.
some new outfits for her for
Yes.
this series.
Hey, let's see. Biggie Shack is saying, I remember on the last episode, it was very Illuminati stuff going on.
The last episode of the TV show?
My guess?
We've got Illuminati threads running through all the new comics, particularly Gargoyles Quest and Dark Ages had big Illuminati threads in them. The SLG stuff definitely had a big Illuminati thread running through both Bad Guys and the main series, the Gargoyles series. They're always sort of lurking in the background there, and at times they'll sort of come forward more, and we'll see.
Yeah, he says, yeah, of the cartoon. Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. I love that. Well, because you're doing so many years of history, thousands and thousands of years of history they basically have here, because they were stoned for 1,000 years before they came back into the 90s. So yeah, you have a whole history of things that they can be doing. Let's see what we got here. Kirby wants to know, is Demona be like the Saint Germain character? Do you know the stories of Saint Germain?
I'm not sure, honestly. It sounds familiar, but it's not jumping into my head right now. So I don't know what character he means. So the short answer might be no, but I may have done that research some time ago and sort of can't quite summon it up to my old tired brain right now.
That's all right. Count of Saint Germain. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm not sure if I know that either. Jay also says you'd like to see more of the pack before they mention on that. My brain has died today. In the Gargoyles, the secret files, if you will. Well, maybe you don't know. It might be in the works.
There's nothing in the works this second, but given enough time, I'll get to everything. Enough time and enough issues. If we keep sales high, right now we're doing really well for Dynamite, and if that continues, they'll want more and more stuff, and we'll keep going.
I think it's very popular, and I know people have really been loving all the different IPs that are coming back from like the 90s. There's been a huge resurgence of that, and I love seeing that myself because it makes me forget all about a series, and I'm like, oh, I need to watch that. Because when I looked up your name, just so I can add some links and stuff, and you brought up, and there was like Bonkers popped up. I haven't thought about that like a million years.
Yeah, I worked a little bit on the original development of. Well, I worked a lot on the original development of Bonkers, which is the Miranda Wright version of the show, which they actually aired second. And then I didn't work on the Piquel version of the show at all. It's very complicated. But yeah, I mean, right now, like Gargoyles #1 was Dynamite's best-selling comic ever. And that's, cool.
It has to feel amazing. Hey. I'll save your Kirby.
So it's fun for us to be riding that wave, that nostalgia wave, or whatever it is. I mean, hopefully it's good storytelling, but for whatever reason, people are there for us right now, and if that keeps up, then we'll keep going.
Well, because I noticed that you have a really amazing fan site where people go ask you questions on there. That seems to be like super popular, and I love seeing the interaction that you have with the fans and stuff. But how many years did people have been coming up to you and like begging for more Gargoyles stuff? Because to me, that's one of the series that I remember people just like wanting more of, especially when I was like in high school. And that to me has always been I just love it. And I love seeing that people are coming back in here because I know it's been a beloved series for a lot of people over the years.
Yeah, I did the first two seasons, which were for syndication in most markets on the Disney afternoon, although in some markets it was just an individual show, but it was different in every city. And then they did a third season for ABC without me, which we also don't count as canon. It was done by really talented people, but they had very little time and a much lower budget than we had. And they had so little time, they didn't even really have time to familiarize themselves with the show. So it doesn't feel like Gargoyles. It feels like, something just off to the side of it. So we don't count those episodes. But in the first 65 episodes, which is still a lot, and all of which are up on Disney Plus, those ended in 96. The ABC version, which was called the Goliath Chronicles, ended in 97. And pretty much since 97, people have been asking me to bring Gargoyles back as if that was something under my control, which it's not. I don't own Gargoyles. I created it with my team and produced it with Frank and a lot of other very talented people, but I don't actually own it, and it's not up to me whether or not it gets brought back and in what shape or form. But I've been pitching doing Gargoyles animated pretty much nonstop for 30 years or 28 or whatever, and trying to get the comics going. And we did that in 2008, 2009, and now again. And it's just been a blast. And I think, we celebrated last July in Minneapolis at Convergence. We had a big 30th anniversary party for Gargoyles, and we had Keith David, the voice of Goliath, and Tom Adcock's the voice of Lexington, and Bridget Bacco, the voice of Angela, and Zara Fuzzle, the voice of Shahrazad, were all there, and we had this big celebration and a lot of panels about Gargoyles, everything from panels about, Gargoyles culture and biology to panels about the original development of the show, panels about the comic books, panels about the TV show. We had a pie contest.
A pie contest?
Yeah. And, we did a radio play. I wrote an original radio play, and the voice actors who were there from the show got to play their characters alongside fans who we cast. We held auditions and cast fans to play the rest of the characters, and we did this great, sort of very fun and kind of silly radio play for everyone at Convergence. And there were fans there that I've known now for 25, 26 years or longer. And then there were brand new fans who were just coming in because they'd just seen the show for the first time on Disney Plus, or because they had read the comics. And those comics got them interested in the property, and then they started watching the show, and they loved it enough that they came to Convergence to celebrate 30 years with us.
That has to be, as a creator or anybody in working in arts, music, whatever, that you have a fan that you know by name because they have coming to you for decades, and how many times you have run into them. That has to feel absolutely just amazing.
It's great for me. The fans have helped keep my interest up on the show. If there were times when I was feeling like, oh, no one ever wants to see this again, the fans told me otherwise. I've got a lot of great friends among the fandom. Two of them, Greg Bashansky and Jennifer L. Anderson, do a Gargoyles podcast with that I am a regular guest on. And we're going through the episodes from the TV series one by one. by one.
Awesome.
It's called Voices from the Eerie, and so let me plug that too. It's a really fun podcast, usually with the three of us plus at least one other guest. So we had the last episode, we had Dennis Woodyard on, who was one of the directors from the show. We've had Carl Johnson, the composer. We've had, I'd say, 80% of the regular cast, maybe more like 90. So Jonathan Frakes has been on, Brent Spiner has been on, Keith David's been on, Bridget Bacco, Tom Adcox, Jeff Bennett, Bill Fagerbacke, and various others. The late Ed Asner passed away, but we had his son Matt Asner come on to talk about how his dad felt about the show. And we've had voice director Jamie Thomason. We've had all sorts of people on the show, and writers, Brendan Chandler Reeves, Carrie Bates, Steve Perry, and others have been on the show. It really is a really fun deep dive into gargoyles, so I recommend that.
Yeah, I just linked it in chat because I saw that they liked and shared the post that we had earlier from Twitter, so I just went and posted all of that on there. And I will go ahead and post their X as well so that you guys can go follow them, because they seem like they have a lot of really cool stuff happening with their podcast. They look fabulous. I just follow them. There we go.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, they're fun to make. I hope they're fun to listen to. You have a lot of fun making it.
It sounds like it's absolutely lovely. Listen, anybody that can nerd out about some of their favorite topics, those are the best things to listen to, because you get some people that are just so geeked out, and which is also interesting to me too, how sometimes the fans know way more about backstories and little information than the creators, because they might have forgot about something, but the fans know every little interesting detail about an episode or a comic. Like they could pinpoint a page that something happens on. That to me, it's fascinating. Yeah. I love seeing that.
And I've known Greg and Jennifer. We met at a convention, I want to say in 1998. So I've known them for, way over 20 years. We've been friends for a long time, and they just decided they wanted to do this. And I said, sure, I'll come aboard. And like I said, I've got lots of old friends who I met from various conventions and stuff like that, who've just over time become friends. And then, you meet new people all the time. And, I can't pretend I remember everybody I've ever met at a convention. But, if you start to see the same faces, year in and year out, you start to get to know the people, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Very cool. I love that. And to me, I think, Gargoyles is one of the most talked about series that I've ever seen, besides DuckTales and some of the other ones from the 90s. Like, those are things that people always bring up when you're talking to them, like Thundercats, Gargoyles, all that stuff, because I know, like, as growing up, like, people around me, like, they wanted more of that back in the 90s. And I'm so glad to see that it's coming back. And with all these little side stories, too, I love it. It's very cool. Mm-hmm. And I really hope there's even more gargoyles coming in the future. That's just awesome. I love seeing that. Is there something that you haven't done with the Gargoyles franchise that you kind of want to do, or like something completely different?
Tons of things. I mean, way back in the day, there was a point, it went away, but there was a point when Michael Eisner, I was in a meeting with Eisner and all the big bosses at Disney, and this is in the mid-90s, so easily more than a decade before Disney bought Marvel. Eisner said, we should buy Marvel. At the time, Marvel was in bankruptcy, so he was like, we can get it for a song, we should buy Marvel. And I was in this meeting, very excited, at watching all these other executives talk Michael out of it.
Oh my!
They could have bought it back then for almost nothing, but they talked him out of it. And of course, when Iger, not Eisner, but Iger later did buy it, it cost a very large fortune to buy Marvel by that time. But back when I was in the meeting, they all said, "Yeah, you can get it for nothing, but you won't like it because they've sold the rights to all the heroes to various companies. Sony has Spider-Man and Fox, it'll be a mess. You're buying this because you want to make movies based on them, but you won't be able to. And the only characters that you'll be able to make movies about are like second tier characters like Iron Man and stuff like that. You don't want it. And they successfully talked him out of it, but he then said, well, we've got a problem. Warner Brothers has Superman and Batman, and we don't really have, we have lots of cartoon characters and great stuff, but we don't really have an action thing. And he turned to me and he said, could we make Gargoyles sort of the foundation of a Disney action universe? And I said, sure. And so we started doing these backdoor pilots in Gargoyles for Pendragon, for the New Olympians, and started planning all these sort of second and third and fourth series that would come out. But as time passed, all these executives who were big supporters of Gargoyles, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Rich Frank, Gary Kreisel, Bruce Cranston, they all left Disney. Even Eisner eventually left Disney, and the whole idea of doing an action universe out of the Gargoyles sort of fell away. But meanwhile, I had all these story ideas for doing Bad Guys or doing Dark Ages or doing Gargoyles 2198, or doing Time Dancer, which is a series about Brooklyn bouncing around through time for 40 years. And I've incorporated elements of all that stuff into the comic book series, the various comic book series. But there's still a lot of stories I'd like to tell. And again, if Demona is successful, then, maybe we'll do Time Dancer next. I'm not guaranteeing that. I'm just saying that there are lots of possibilities. Gargoyles 2198, Heroes of Ulster. We had all these ideas for these additional stories that would be part of the Gargoyles universe. And if I get my way, eventually we'll do them all.
Well, I hope so, because I know the Gargoyles from Dynamite has been very popular and people have really loved it. So I think when Demona comes out, definitely go to For Comic Book Day and go pick up your issue 0 for that as well. And then when it does come out, New Comic Book Day, I believe May 14th. Go definitely get it. But you can pre-order it happening right now. And Freaky Louie is saying Greg Weisman, the man, the myth, the legend.
I am a myth. I don't actually exist.
You're not technically here right now.
Yeah, it's all AI.
Very much. But no, this is exciting. I love seeing these properties come back, and it got me really hyped to go binge watch a whole bunch of series over the last couple of years as well, just because I see so many properties coming back, and that to me is fun. Like when you could go rewatch something that you grew up loving as a kid, like just the excitement that you see and just have for it, it just gives you a whole new appreciation for it as an adult, and I love that. And I love younger kids finding these series. You can't even trust your lying eyes. Oh, you need bigger glasses, Jay. Let's see. Oh, why? Okay. StreamYard, I'm going to tell you, I can't click this. Kirby was giving us a little bit of information about who Saint Germain was. Let's see. Eyewitness to royalty female who met him as a kid, and later she was older. Let me see. It's a figure in history. It appears in many periods over time. Because of the Demona immortality, you found that she appears in many times in history, like the Conra Germain. Well, that's also interesting too, because if they didn't have that magic spell really cast on them and turned to stone, where do you think they would have been in that era, like the Gargoyles? Let's see.
I mean, that's part of what this miniseries is. Part of what this miniseries is doing. Yeah. It's sort of showing 5 instances of where Demona's spent those 1,000 years, with hints of other things as well. It's full of Easter eggs. It's full of little hints for things that come before each story and after each story. And again, none of these 5 stories are like right in a row. It's not like, hey, we go from this issue and the next story takes place a day later. These are all separated by sometimes decades. it's a wild ride. Or if I'm
for
doing my
sure.
job right, it's a wild.
Well, you got a lot of writing material ahead of you because you have literally like 1,000 years of
That's
stuff that you could just do whatever you want with.
Yeah, I
So
mean, even if I
it's
just wanted to
fun.
explore the 200 years we're exploring in this
Yeah.
series, there's still a lot of time in between all these issues
Oh
that I can
yeah.
still explore. So there's a lot of potentially great material in that 1,000-year run of Demona's, and and I think there's a lot of great material in the 90s as we go into our next set of Gargoyles comics. We're finally reaching 1998, which is very,
Ooh.
very exciting. We've
It was
been
a
in
good
97
year.
all this time. We're finally going to get to 98. And
99 is gonna be a wild ride.
99 and 2000 are going to be very wild rides. But
Make
we're
the
having
best versus Demona all day. Yes. I think Demona would win that battle. That's funny. But no, I love this. This is so much fun. I love getting to know Demona more as well over the years, which is quite fascinating. I do love that. Let me go back to the series right here. So if you are just joining us, the Gargoyles Demona series is going to be 5 issues, but you do have an issue 0 that's releasing on Free Comic Book Day, which is fantastic. You can pre-order these right now through Dynamite, and there's a whole bunch of various covers for issue 1, and it should be out New Comic Book Day, May 14th for issue 1. But yeah, you can go ahead and pre-order these right now.
Issue 0 is on Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, issue 0
1
Free
is on
Comic
May
Book Day.
14th.
Yes. But I love the artists that you have involved in this. They're so good.
So right there, the one you've got up right now, that covers by Frank Parr, who's doing all the interior art, pencil inks, and then colored by Robbie Bavard on the interiors. Although I think Frank colored that cover himself.
Oh, lovely. Yes, I do very much also love the Jay Lee cover, which is the one right here. Oh, he does a really interesting take on her.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I love zooming in and looking at these details because it's just quite lovely. Because you have the Mark Spears right here. This is Megan Hetrick right here. Then we have your interior artist as well, and then Jay Lee cover, and then there's some blanks, and there are some like the black and white line art. And then this is the cover for issue 2, one of them where she comes into her Viking ways as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fun times. Oh, I love it. I'm very excited to actually pick these up and read these because this is something that I have loved for a long time. So I know there's a lot of people in chat that really like this series as well. So yeah, go check this out. Go grab stuff. Definitely go hit up Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, put it on your pull list, pre-order, please, because in this day and age and in the industry, it's all about pre-orders. It really is. I mean, it's not about day of sales even, which it was in my day. It was about they really define success and unfortunately failure based on the numbers they get in pre-order. And so please pre-order issues 1 through 5 now, if you would, because that's what will define success. And success in Gargoyles Demona will define what and how much we get to do going forward.
Hopefully a lot more. I hope way more people start pre-ordering and go picking these up for sure, because this sounds like a lot of fun. And I love that you're doing a different theme for each book as well. So that's going to be very exciting. And Sabrina, yes, looks dope. You love the Gargoyles. Yes. Also, if you do go to Dynamite and you missed out on some of these series, once you're on here after I linked it, you can definitely go pick up some of the other series that they have on here. You can pick up the Winter Special, Quest, Here in Manhattan, Dark Ages, the regular series. But yeah, they have all of this available, and it'll let you know how much prices are. But yeah, you can definitely get on some of this, but it's fantastic. I love seeing this. This makes me just want to go binge watch the entire series. So
I'm all for that. I mean,
yes,
look, that's another way you can help the property. If you binge watch on Disney Plus, they take note of that. And the more views that Gargoyles gets on Disney Plus, the easier it is for me to go in and say, hey, let's make more. And so, that's the best way to help the property is either by pre-ordering the comics, buying the comics, binge watching or watching the show on Disney Plus. Those are the best ways to help the property.
Very cool. I love it. Yes, people are very much geeking out right now in the chat. They love it. Jay has another question for you. This is a very good question. How do the trades factor into that success with most trades going to bookstores now?
Trades help. From a business, from a creative standpoint, I love to see the trades because, it's great to have that thicker volume and have all the issues together that way. From a business standpoint, they matter, but you don't get to the trade unless the individual issues are selling pre-orders. So, those people who are sort of like, well, I'll just wait for the trade. It's not helping us out quite as much, because first off, if we don't get enough issues, there won't be a trade.
Okay.
And those sales matter, but they're secondary to pre-orders of the individual issues. That's just the economics of the business. I'm not trying to defend it one way or the other. I'm just saying that the economics of the business is that what matters is pre-orders on the individual issues. That's what really,
That's super good to know.
Yeah, helps us out. Now, once the trades come out, pre-order those as well. Again, we've got trades coming out not only of, the first trade here in Manhattan, Part 1 is already out. That collects the first 6 issues of the Dynamite Gargoyle series. But pre-order here in Manhattan, Volume 2, pre-order the Dark Ages trade, the Quest trade. And we also have trades coming out of the old Marvel Gargoyles from the 90s and the 2 SLG trades from 2009, 2010. One is Gargoyles and one is Gargoyles Bad Guys. And, order those as well. Those you can get on order on Kickstarter. And we had a very successful Kickstarter campaign.
Congrats on that.
I apologize to fans. It's taken a little longer to get those printed than Dynamite originally anticipated. But they just released an update showing prototypes of the volumes. They look fantastic. And so I hope people check them all out.
Oh, I hope so. I have a feeling there's a bunch of people in chat that have already backed that as well. And I like Aggie's comment here. He says he's been getting the Gargoyles. He loved it for being a great show, but also the TNG cast. I know.
Yeah, we had a lot of Star Trek actors on the show. It really started with Marina and Jonathan. Marina plays Demona, Marina Sirtis, and Jonathan Frakes plays Xanatos. And they were in the show because they auditioned and they were the best people for the parts and they were fantastic. But as we were casting guest actors for various episodes, I'd be in the booth with Jamie Thomason, our voice director, and he'd be like, okay, who do we need for next week? And I'd say, well, we've got Goliath's brother Coldstone showing up. So he's a big gargoyle. He's Goliath's brother, so he needs the kind of chops that Keith David has. And, we're looking across the glass at Jonathan and Marina. And so I'm like going, well, what about Michael Dorn? So we bring Michael Dorn in to play a role, and we bring Brent Spiner in and LeVar Burton, and we bring in Nichelle Nichols to play Elisa's mom, Diane Maza. And then pretty soon, we weren't sitting there trying to get Star Trek actors. It's just having Star Trek actors in there kept reminding us that just up the road at Paramount, there was this great ensemble of actors. And we had Jonathan and Marina to sort of tell their buddies, hey, it's a good gig. Hey, Michael Dorn, you don't have to sit in makeup for 3.5 hours. You can just show up. And the scripts are good and it's fun. And so we just got these terrific people from Star Trek. And then at some point, I would never cast someone in a role who wasn't right for it. But, at some point you're sort of going, well, can we get someone from every Star Trek series? And so we got Kate Mulgrew to play Titania. We got Avery Brooks to play Nokar. We got Cole Meany to play a role.
Yes.
we started pulling from every Star Trek show that existed back then, and there were quite a few because that was when Next Generation was just coming to an end, but DS9 had started up, and then Voyager started up. Plus, we had Nichelle Nichols from the original series in there, and it was great. And it was like I said, I would never cast someone who was wrong for the part just because they were in Star Trek. But there were plenty of people in Star Trek to play all these different roles, and so we wound up with a ton of Star Trek actors in the show.
And Eggy here is super huge into Star Trek, so he is very much geeking out right now. And you missed it earlier when you were saying how you were at a con one time and you had some of the voice actors, but you also picked some of the fans up to do some of the parts. Dude, right. You missed out on that. You should have been part of that. You would have had a great time. But I also agree. It had some of the best voice casting. So good. Like every single character was just absolutely just perfection. I very much enjoy that. But yeah, you guys, I like that you're having so much fun in chat. And I did drop the link right here because you can't order anymore on Kickstarter, but it is on BackerKit to pick up any of the pre-orders for the Kickstarter campaign for the 30th anniversary. So I do have that down there, and I have the link to your Dynamite link as well, because it looks like a lot of the other series are still on there that you can go ahead and order. So yeah, go get you some pre-orders. Get this going. Let's get Demona super popular. Let's get way more people on that, because hopefully that'll bring out way more series for Gargoyles, and maybe more of the live action / animated come back. It'd be fantastic. Yeah, very exciting. But thank you so much, very much, Greg, for joining me, and thanks for everybody being in here in chat. I had such a lovely time talking to you and talking about Gargoyles. Do you have any other appearances, your podcast, or cons that you're coming up at?
So yeah, Voices from the Eyrie is out every couple weeks or so. I'm not sure when the next one drops, but soon. So just keep checking that out. I'll be at Fan Expo Chicago in August.
Nice.
And as of right now, that's the only con I'm scheduled to go to, because it's the only con I've been invited to. So, if you know some people who are guest coordinators at various cons,
heck yeah.
Tell them to invite me, because I'm happy to go to cons, but I need an invite. So there's that. You can also follow me on X at Greg_Weisman. And then my website is askgregweisman.com. And I'm taking a break from answering questions right now, a 2-year break, I think it's been, because I got a little fried.
Yeah.
But I've been answering questions there for 25 years.
Yeah.
And so and there's a searchable archive of all the answers. So if you've got a question about Brooklyn, you can search Brooklyn. And if you've got a question about Oberon, you can search Oberon there. I also answer questions about Spider-Man and Young Justice. I've got another comic book too, which I would love to plug a bit, which is The Spectacular Spider-Men.
Oh,
plural for Marvel, that features adventures that Pete and Miles share together. And issue 14 came out yesterday. So that's worth, I'm really proud of that book, and it's worth picking up. And in particular, if you're a Gargoyles fan, issue 11 is full of Gargoyles-related Easter eggs in issue 11 of Spectacular Spider-Man.
It's very exciling.
And so, again, you can check out my website, check out Twitter. I'm around.
Yes, and I have every one of these links, including the Eerie podcast down below, plus your Dynamite link and the backer kit I have saved in my description. So go find him, go lurk around. Definitely go pick up some Gargoyles. Apparently, Keith David is coming to Tampa Bay Comic-Con this year. Ooh, nice. That's fun.
Keith is always fun. He's the best.
I would say people should reach out to you too for Free Comic Book Day if you haven't already, because you have an issue coming out.
Yeah,
definitely. And this is exciting. See, this is what I love seeing right here. Brandon is saying he grew up on Gargoyles and he's now sharing it with his 5-year-old son who loves it. So thanks for all that you've given us. See, I love that kind of stuff. That's
I love
fantastic.
it too. Believe me. Thank you.
I love that. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Freaky is also saying Young Justice was a masterpiece.
I agree.
Listen, it sounds like you've had a very lovely career over all these decades, and I wish you so much more success. And I hope people go bananas getting pre-ordering and picking up Demona, because this sounds like just a fun read. And even if you haven't delved into Gargoyles at all, for Comic Book Day, listen, go pick it up and then go read it and then get hooked and then go check it out. Yeah.
We try to write these things so that it's accessible for new fans, for people who don't have ever seen an episode of Gargoyles or read a single issue before. We try to write it so that everything you need to know to understand that issue is in that issue. Obviously, you get more out of it if you've been a longtime fan and you've seen all 65 episodes and read all the comics, but you don't need to have all that in order to do it. So if you're looking for a good, place to enter the Gargoyles universe, either Demona Zero for Free Comic Book Day or Demona #1 are great entry points for that.
I'd say so. I think so. And Apex says he was in his 20s when it came out. I was in high school. I graduated high school in 99. So this was like prime time. You come home and that's what was on TV.
I was 30. Yeah. Nice. Well, I was 31 when it premiered. So that makes me very old now.
Several decades later, it is only coming back even stronger. So I think that is absolutely just phenomenal. So yeah, all the fans keep reaching out so we get way more Gargoyle content. And Gargoyles is amazing. Thank you, Greg. Yes.
Thank you for watching and reading.
Yes. Let's go. Let's do some watch-a-thons and go like spam Disney Plus watching.
Please.
Let's do it. What I am going to show real quick is, we talked about this earlier. I'm going to show you Jay's piece that he popped up here. He did. Let's see. This one right here. Yeah. No. Come on. Stop doing that. There we go. Boom. That was the piece that he did for.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. That was great.
Remember that one? Yes. Yeah. It's very exciting. Very much. Went to Rob's Fat Stacks, who picked it up at our charity event. So yay, way to go, Rob, and way to go, Jay. Thank you for participating in that. Johnny Quest and Gargoyles have great theme songs. You are not wrong, Apex. It's fantastic.
No, it's Carl Johnson did the theme for Gargoyles, and I love it. Just adore it.
Oh, it's such a good song. The whole thing is just super good series. I love it. And Sheldon, yes, nice Demona. Yes. Yeah, see? Boom. Yeah, go check it. Go follow all these people. We're having a lot of fun getting to talk to everybody. And he says, thanks, Greg. Appreciates it. Nice. We're going to get on out of here. Thank you very much, Greg, for chatting with us. And I hope so many people go pick up this pre-order and go run into him at cons if you see him. And con people, hit him up. Go get him a guest on something.
Yeah, thanks. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.
Ooh, hold on a second. Tate is saying Gargoyles is a show that I never felt talked down to. One of the very rare cartoons that made me feel heard. Oh, it's amazing. Yes, I think it's such a well done
show. We tried to write the show that we wanted to see. So we were really passionate about it. We got guys and gals in our 30s, some in their 20s probably, but in our 30s, a few in their 40s. But our attitude was, we have to be passionate about the show, or else how can we ever expect an audience to be passionate about it? So of course we didn't talk down, because that'd be like talking down to ourselves. And I don't even know how you do that. So, we knew we had to target young viewers as well. So, there was plenty of eye candy, colorful monsters flying around, explosions, all sorts of fun stuff happening that, younger viewers could view without maybe getting all the complexity of the stories that we were telling, but not so that they'd feel left out, but more that they would feel like something to aspire to. And again, no talking down to the kid audience. We respected the intelligence of our audience down to the 4 and 5-year-olds who are watching. So, you know, I'm not saying a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old was getting all the complexities of the show, but there was enough there for them. And then what was great about it, one of the reasons I think the show holds up is that you can watch an episode that you've seen before and catch things that you didn't notice the first time out. And
definitely.
I think that's one of the things that keeps the show alive. And
I think so.
Trying to do that in the comics as well as what we did in the show.
Oh, no, it's very exciting. I am very much looking forward to reading this. I can't wait to go pick this up. So that's definitely one of my first grabs I'm going to pick up in May. So yay, let's go. Thank you very much for joining me. Thanks to the chat. Chat has been hype all night long. Thank you so much for being in here. And yeah, go pick up all the Demona. Let's go. We're going to get out of here. Thank you very much, Greg. Hopefully you can go get something to eat and go relax. And yes, Comic-Con people, hit him up. Let's get you guested all over the place. Let's go. Let's spread this galore. But yeah, thank you guys for everybody for coming in here.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It was a lot of fun. Very nice chat. But bye guys. Thank you very much. Boom, boom, boom.